Hello and welcome. My name is Kate. I'm also known as the Daily Tarot Girl, and this is my 2024 tarot forecast. So for this tarot reading, I am using the This Might Hurt tarot deck by Isabella Rotman, and I am using my New Year tarot spread that I created. If you want to grab your own copy of this spread and try your own reading, I'm going to put the link below where you can find that spread. And before we dive into this 2024 forecast, I also have some free tarot planning worksheets for you. So if you want to start your new year off being really organized, you might have fun with these planning sheets. So I'm going to put the link on where you can grab your weekly and daily tarot planning sheets just below this video. I'll also post it in the comments as well. And yeah, let's dive in. So I will be offering private readings. If you want your own private reading, I'm going to be offering those private readings the first week of January. So if you're watching this in January and those readings are available, I'll put the link just below this video. Okay, so let's begin with the very first card. This is the opening message of the reading. This is the message that the tarot has for us. And I should say that this reading is like a general reading for the collective, kind of like my weekly readings. So there might be certain aspects of this reading that really resonate for you and certain aspects that maybe just don't. It's kind of like when you're reading like a horoscope or something like that. So thinking of it kind of that way. So take what resonates and leave the rest. So we're beginning with the opening message here, and I'm just going to zoom in so we can see this card a little better. All right, so we have the Two of Wands as the opening message of the reading. So this is what we need to see. This is what we need to hear as we enter this new year. So as we step into 2024, and I have to say I'm so relieved to see this card because the Two of Wands is telling you to pause and get your bearings straight. Get things figured out as you enter this new year. So there's no need for you to rush into this new year. There's no need for you to actually have specific goals or plans right away. It's okay to take a little time here. And by take a little time, I mean take the month of January, maybe even part of February, to kind of get your footing and to figure out where it is that you're wanting to go. So the woman on this card, it looks like she's on a road trip. She's pulled over to the side. She's just resting, she's calm, she's not in a hurry, and she's looking at a map. So she's kind of trying to figure out, okay, where do I want to go next? Where am I? What options are available to me? Where exactly do I want to go? And Two of Wands is all about pausing to contemplate and figure out where you want to put your energy next. Because remember, the Suit of Wands is all about energy and passion and action. But this is about kind of just pausing to figure out, okay, where do I want to put my energy? Where do I want to go? So, and I think that the map is kind of a symbol of getting a big picture view, planning ahead. So as you start this new year, as we enter into 2024, don't be in a big rush, and it's okay if you're not totally clear on what's important to you right now or what you want to focus on. It's okay to take your time here to figure that out. Okay, so let's look at the next card. So this next card is going to tell us what's going to be most helpful this year. What's going to help us the most this year? What's going to help you the most this year? All right, and we have the King of Pentacles. So again, I'm excited to see this card here. So the King of Pentacles, he's a very grounded individual. So let me tell you a little bit about the King of Pentacles, because I think that it's tapping into these qualities that's going to be most helpful for us this year. So the King of Pentacles is very grounded. He's very earthy. He's very practical. So he's good at taking care of like the practical day-to-day stuff. So things like taking care of his finances, balancing the books, and doing so in a very level-headed, realistic, practical kind of way. He's good at taking care of his physical needs. So this means taking care of your body. So things like eating nourishing meals, getting enough exercise. These are the things that are actually going to really help you throughout the year. So whenever you feel scattered or overwhelmed or you're struggling with something this year, think of the King of Pentacles and remember to really ground your energy. So I like to ground my energy by getting some exercise, going out in nature. Sometimes meditating can be grounding. Usually it's like doing something physical, like putting your hands in the dirt, putting your feet on the grass, moving your body, maybe eating something, like doing something really, really physical can be quite grounding. But some people like to do breath work or meditation, or even journaling can be grounding. Whatever kind of helps you get out of your head and into your body. And kind of bring your energy, I want to say like bring your energy down a little bit, like really kind of calming down, connecting with the physical realm. That's what's really going to help you move through this year. Now, the King of Pentacles, if you look at him, look at his body language. Look what he's doing. He's leaning back on his throne. And he has his legs wide open. He's like that annoying guy on the bus who's like taking up a lot of space, right? So I feel like the King of Pentacles is also telling you to not be afraid to take up space this year. Don't be afraid to take up space, and don't be afraid to kind of get comfy. The King of Pentacles is all about comfort, and he's all about pleasure. He's got his glass of red wine. He's got his sunglasses on. He's very relaxed. And I feel like the message here is that getting some rest, enjoying yourself, maybe having a little vacation here and there, that's what's really going to help you really ground your energy, get out of your head, back into your body. That's what's going to help you sail through 2024. And again, I want to emphasize his practical nature. Like the King of Pentacles is not this like pie in the sky dreamer. He doesn't give in to fantastical daydreaming. He's not a daydreamer. He's very practical. He's realistic, but he also knows how to enjoy life and like how to have a good time. So those are some things that are really going to help you this year. Okay, let's look at card number 3. So card number 3 is going to tell us what kinds of projects and what kinds of goals are worthy this year. Like what kinds of things you want to focus on. And I'm just going to move my camera over a little here. Okay. So the card we have here is 8 of Swords. Okay. An interesting card to get here for sure. So the 8 of Swords is all about being stuck. The woman on this card is bound. She's blindfolded. There's swords around her. It's raining. She doesn't look like she's appropriately dressed for the weather. Everything about this card is kind of uncomfortable. And when the 8 of Swords comes up in a reading, it's an indication that there's kind of this stuck energy. Something wants to get unstuck. And 8 of Swords is also a card of limitation. It's about feeling limited in some way, feeling like you're held back, feeling like you're a little bit powerless. So this is interesting, and I'm trying to think, okay, what does it mean? What's it trying to tell us? When we think about what kinds of projects or what kinds of goals that we want to set for the year ahead, what kinds of things we want to put our attention and energy into, it might be that you think of something and then you think, oh no, I really, really want to do this, but that's not possible because, I don't have enough time, or it's too hard, or I don't have enough money, etc. So the 8 of Swords is asking you to take a look at your beliefs around yourself and what you think is possible, not possible, as it relates to the projects and the goals that you would like to have for yourself. I don't know if that was clear. Maybe I should say that in a different way. So first, think about what kinds of projects do you really want to focus on this year? What kinds of goals do you want? And which ones feel realistic? Which ones feel unrealistic? Which ones feel like they're not possible? And be open to this idea of questioning your own beliefs on what is and isn't possible. So sometimes the message of the Eight of Swords is that we might feel really stuck, but a big part of that feeling stuck is our belief that we're stuck, and sometimes just challenging our own beliefs and ideas of how stuck we are can be valuable. That's kind of the first step in sometimes getting unstuck. Okay, I think there's something else I want to say about this card. I should be honest with you. I did this reading a little bit differently than I do my weekly reading, so I've already looked at these cards and I've made little notes about what I want to say about them. So I'm kind of referring to my notes here. Okay, yeah. So just coming back to that theme of getting unstuck, there's something like whatever projects you set for yourself this year, whatever goals you have, whatever intentions you set, think about, it's almost like this theme of getting unstuck is weaved into those. So it's like whatever your goals are, whatever your intentions are, I think it's important that many of your goals and intentions have to do with getting unstuck in some way, becoming more free as you move through the year. Okay, let's look at card number 4. Okay, so card number 4 is going to show us what needs to be healed or released this year. So this is like what you're needing to let go of. So this could be something that you're releasing, something you're closing the door on, or something that just needs a little bit of attention and love and healing. So we have the 5 of Pentacles. Now the 5 of Pentacles can represent feeling kind of isolated, feeling like you're, out in the cold. You're kind of on the outside looking in. And what's interesting here is we have 2 people on this card, but they don't seem to be interacting. Sometimes in other versions, in different decks, the 2 people will be helping each other, but in this version, they're kind of ignoring each other. So that's kind of interesting. So it's this feeling of like almost this sense of isolation and this sense of disconnection. And that is what is really, I think, wanting to be addressed this year. That is what is really wanting to be healed in some way. Okay, I mean, I have a few ideas about this card here and what it could mean. So sometimes the 5 of Pentacles can also represent ailments. So it could be like physical ailments. And I do want to point out that the 5 of Pentacles is a minor arcana card. So this isn't a major arcana card. So it is a challenge card, but it tends to refer to things that are a little bit more minor in nature. So when I say like physical ailments, this might not be like a major ailment. This could be, like a sore joint or something that's just like not a big deal, but it's like really kind of ruining your quality of life. It's nagging. It's like a nagging symptom. So this card, 5 of Pentacles, can be like physical ailments. It can also refer to money woes, money challenges, feeling like there's not enough. But I feel like this feeling of feeling like an outsider and feeling this feeling of like almost loneliness, isolation, disconnect, that's what looms large for me when I look at this card. And I feel like that's a big thing that collectively we're all working to heal within ourselves in one way or another. And how to go about doing that, that's a whole nother topic. I'm not sure, but I think as we move through the reading, perhaps it will be revealed. But I feel like starting small is helpful. And it feels like even if you can start by healing something small, that will have like a ripple effect on other areas of your life. And kind of going back to the physical ailment thing, I have had this, my right hip is really, really tight. And I've been doing a lot of work on it. And as I'm starting to see results, it's starting to loosen up. It's not as tight. Now my lower back isn't bothering me as much as it was before. And now I'm sleeping better. Like it's just this ripple effect. It's like you change one thing and it starts to positively affect other areas. So that's kind of what I get from the Five of Pentacles. It's like this sense, I get a sense of like loneliness and isolation, but I also feel like there's little things that we can do to remedy that, and it will have a really positive ripple effect. Let's look at the center card. So the center card is the focus card of the reading. And this center card is basically saying, focus on this in 2024. Let's see what we got. Aha, okay, Judgment. So let's talk about Judgment, because this is one of my favorite cards in the tarot. And it's one of my favorite cards because it represents rebirth. And in this particular version, it's kind of alluding to reincarnation. And this, I think it's an Egyptian myth of, so I'll just point out some of the symbols here. We've got the person, the soul who's being judged or looked at, and his heart is being weighed next to a feather. And it's this myth that, if your heart was as light as a feather, you would, I guess, move on to the afterlife. And I guess if it wasn't, then maybe you would be reincarnated. I'm kind of making some of this up. I'm not actually super clear on what the myth is. Full disclosure. And I believe, is this Anubis? I feel like I should have read up on this myth before doing this reading. But anyways, in the background, you can see all these other, I guess they're other souls, other people in the background. So this is a really fascinating card. But in the tarot, Judgment represents rebirth and starting a new chapter, starting a new phase, and even like reinventing yourself and starting something new. It's like a transformation of sorts. And so that's what I love about Judgment. It is this card of transformation. Now, the message I get from this card is all about, it's kind of like doing a life review. So kind of looking back over your life and acknowledging how far you've come, all the different experiences you've had, and kind of taking stock. Kind of similar to what I said when we were talking about the Two of Wands. And I said, pause, kind of reflect, figure out where you want to put your energy going forward. Judgment is kind of similar to that, but in a bigger way, in a more kind of spiritual way. So with Judgment, it's asking you to focus on kind of looking at the big picture of your life overall and taking stock of things. And there's this theme of balance. We see the scale, so there's this theme of balance, but there's also this idea of lightening your heart. So this idea of your heart being as light as a feather, and it makes me think of unburdening your heart. So if there's things that are weighing your heart down, maybe there's someone that you haven't forgiven yet. Maybe there's something that you haven't processed or let go of that's like weighing you down. Maybe there's something that you're wanting to release, but you haven't been able to up until this point. And it also kind of makes me think of the theme of compassion and being compassionate with yourself. But it feels like this step of kind of doing a bit of a life review, unburdening your heart, letting go of things if you're able to. It's kind of like that is the key, that's the necessary step on the journey of transformation. So in order to start a brand new chapter, in order to kind of reinvent yourself and create that transformation, that is kind of part of that journey. So this feels exciting, and I'm trying to think of like a more down-to-earth way of explaining it, but it feels like this is a worthy focus this year. So 2024, it's a good year, I think, to really take like a big picture view of things and consider the context of your whole life, and maybe even paying attention to themes. So the themes that keep popping up in your life. It's almost like, kind of just going off on a tangent here, but it's almost like seeing the big picture. And again, I'm looking at the, I'm kind of reading this card next to the Two of Wands with her map. It's almost like seeing the big picture is a big part of this year. It's like we're expanding our horizons here. And now I kind of understand why the King of Pentacles is the card that's going to help us the most. Because the more grounded and practical and down to earth you are, as you, do some of this healing work, as you look at, do this life review, look at the big picture view of your life. It's important, I think, to be grounded. So let's look at the next card. All right. So this next card represents, let's see here. This next card represents upcoming energies of 2024. And this is a beautiful, beautiful card to get here. So the Fool, actually it's interesting because the Fool is in some ways similar to Judgment, I think. Judgment is all about rebirth, and the Fool is about going on a new journey. But the Fool, there's a certain kind of naiveness and optimism about the Fool that isn't with Judgment. Judgment is like, kind of like, to compare these things, like the Fool is like being born anew and it's the first day of the rest of your life. Whereas Judgment is about maybe coming to the end of a life or the end of a life phase, and looking back at everything you've learned and using that information to then move forward and reinvent yourself. So the Fool is similar to Judgment, but it's like a little more naive and fresh feeling. Okay, so upcoming energies. The Fool, when I look at the Fool as a card that represents like the upcoming energies of 2024, I think that there'll be lots of opportunities for starting things new and starting things fresh. There might be new projects that you're excited about, new opportunities, new adventures. There's this energy of newness. There's also this energy of optimism, which kind of surprises me, actually. And it might just be because lately I haven't really felt super optimistic. I'm probably spending too much time online. I don't know. But I'm kind of surprised to see this card here because the Fool really is a card of optimism. It's a card of being willing to take a few risks, like being willing to just dive into something, say yes to things, take a risk here and there. That's kind of the energy of the Fool. It's like being open, being up for an adventure, being up for, trying something new, doing something different. That is kind of the incoming energy of 2024. And I'm a little surprised, to be honest, but I'm excited to see this card here. So some questions I have for you. What things will you be saying yes to this year? And of course, you might not be able to answer that yet. You'll have to kind of see how it goes, move into the year first and see. But like, what will you be saying yes to? What things make you feel optimistic and adventurous? Like what projects, what people, places, things give you that sense of adventure that we see with the Fool? All right, let's look at the next card. Okay, so this next card represents any blocks or challenges that might come up for us this year in 2024. And we have the Hanged Man. Now, I think it's interesting, we just had 3 major arcana cards in a row, the Judgment, the Fool, and the Hanged Man. And Judgment and the Fool are all about moving forward and going on like a new adventure, starting a new phase, which are lovely messages to get for a yearly reading. But the Hanged Man is about feeling kind of stuck and stagnant. So the Hangman, what I'm getting from the Hangman is that one of our biggest challenges this year will be feeling like things aren't moving forward quickly enough or not on our timeline. We might also feel like you might also find yourself feeling kind of powerless, like even though things might be progressing, they might not be progressing in the way that you had planned or the way that you would want them to progress. So that feeling of feeling frustrated, feeling kind of powerless. But ultimately, this is about feeling stuck, like wanting to move in a particular direction, but not being able to, just like almost as if you keep running forward and like running up against a brick wall. So that is a big a challenge that you might experience this year. And the message of the Hangman is that if you can't move forward, try moving inward. And what that means is if you find yourself in a place where you're kind of stuck, sometimes going inward, so using tools like meditation, can be helpful. So if you can't change the world around you, temporarily go inward and see if you can change your inner landscape. So your inner landscape is like your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, your perspective. And speaking of perspective, the Hanged Man is all about getting a different perspective. And sometimes that is what's needed to get unstuck and to move forward, is looking at things from a totally different way. It's like, I don't know if you've ever been working on like a jigsaw puzzle and you're really stuck on it, and then you look at it upside down and you're like, oh, I see where the pieces go now. Kind of like that, like a shift in perspective. Sometimes you get these like aha moments. Okay, let's look at the next card. So this next card is going to show us your special talents and abilities in 2024. So these might be skills or talents that you're already aware of, but you're just really going to be utilizing them to their full potential this year, or these might be new skills, new abilities that come to light this year. And the card we have here is Six of Swords. So Six of Swords is ultimately a card of transition. It's about getting from A to B. I associate it with change, growth, moving forward. It's a card of transition. So I think it's interesting. We have a few cards that symbolize that, and I'll talk about that towards the end. But this is ultimately a card of transition. And what I'm seeing here, what I'm getting, is that as this relates to your special abilities, your special talents and whatnot, you have a talent this year. You have this enhanced ability to create change and to move forward. Even though we talked about the Hangman and that feeling of getting stuck and feeling like things are stagnating, that's just part of the process. I think for many of us, 2024 will be a year of movement and change and all that. So Six of Swords definitely shows that you have the ability to move forward and to navigate any transitions with ease. Now there's 6 knives here, and they're all different shapes, and it makes me think that whatever it is that you need to do this year, there's more than one way to do it. You aren't limited to just one method or one tool or one skill. There's many different skills and methods and tools at your fingertips, which is interesting. Okay, Let's look at the last card. So the last card is the closing message of the reading. This is what you need to know and understand before you fully step into 2024. And here we have the Five of Cups. This is kind of interesting because we also got the Five of Pentacles, and the fives are always challenging. These are challenge cards. And the message I get with the Five of Cups, and here we see someone who kind of seems like they're down in the dumps. They're sort of mourning. They're looking down at these spilled cups, and they're ignoring the two cups behind them. And the two cups behind them are full and they're steaming, and there's little steam things above them, but they don't see them. They have their back to them. They're just focusing on the cups that are spilled. What I get when I look at this card is a bunch of different things. So the first thing I notice actually is the bridge in the background, the red bridge, and then the river that's running through this card. So there's a few different directions we can go with this. I feel like the moving water, the water does not look stagnant. It's like a river, it's a stream, it's moving. And I think that as things change this year, as you transition, and this is a year of transition, I think, just based on so many of these cards, as you transition and as things develop, ultimately, nothing is 100% positive. There will be disappointments. There will be some failures along the way. Again, this is a minor arcana card, so that's good to keep in mind. This is kind of more minor in nature. And the Five of Cups is saying it's important to acknowledge loss and disappointments, but you don't want to dwell indefinitely on them. So if you can acknowledge a heartbreak or a disappointment or something not working out, if you can acknowledge it and grieve it, but then be able to process it and move on. Otherwise, you end up neglecting and turning your back on these two cups, the good things in your life. So don't ignore or neglect the good stuff in favor of dwelling on the bad stuff. But at the same time, this isn't saying, stuff your feelings, don't, pretend, bad things don't happen. It's not about that. It's about acknowledging loss, but also acknowledging the things that you have, the good things. Okay, so that's important, I think, that Five of Cups is just a little reminder. Now let's zoom out and look at all of the cards together and look at some of the themes of this year ahead. All right, so here we have all the cards together. So I'm just going to kind of connect some of the dots and connect some of the cards here. So one theme I see with a lot of these cards is this theme of journey, this theme of like adventure and going on some kind of like journey or transition. So we have the Two of Wands at the top here she's on like a road trip with her map. We have the Fool down here. He's going on an adventure. We also have the Six of Swords right at the bottom here. And that's also about kind of going on a trip, going on some kind of adventure or journey. And then Judgment is a card of transition as well. And I would even argue the Hanged Man in a weird roundabout way is a card of transition, but it's more about an inner transition as opposed to an obvious outer transition. So a lot of cards of like adventure, journey, transition, moving forward. So I think that that's really interesting. We have the symbol of the bridge in a couple of cards. So here in the background of the Fool, we have a red bridge, and then again a red bridge in the background of the Five of Cups. So bridges, again, like a symbol of going from A to B, crossing a body of water, transportation, moving forward. And then the symbol of water really features heavily in a lot of these cards. So we've got water with in the background of the Two of Wands. We have a body of water in the background of the Eight of Swords. You might not be able to see because it's quite dark, but there is water there. We have water in the background of the Hanged Man, Six of Swords, and the Five of Cups. So most of these cards have water in them, and water symbolizes emotion. It also can symbolize like movement and flow. It can also symbolize the subconscious and you know what's beneath the surface. So all kind of interesting symbols there. Another thing I noticed with all of these cards, well, first of all, it's helpful, I think, whenever I'm trying to connect the cards in a bigger reading like this. I look for repeating themes, which we've talked about. I look for repeating numbers. So we do have 2 5s. And I look at, you know, what major arcana cards are here, what minor arcana cards are here. And the majors that showed up were Judgment, the Fool, and the Hanged Man. All cards, all really important cards of taking some kind of a journey or a trip of some sort. And like I said, the Hanged Man is about the inner journey, not the outer journey. So kind of interesting here. But another interesting theme I noticed with so many of the people in these cards was that their eyes were either closed or covered. So with the King of Pentacles, he's wearing sunglasses, so we can't see his eyes. Eight of Swords, she has a blindfold on. The faces are like down and kind of covered in the Five of Pentacles. The Fool has his eyes closed. He's about to step off a cliff. Hanged Man also has his eyes closed. We can't see the face with the Six of Swords, and we can't see the face with the Five of Cups. So, I don't know what to make of that exactly. It's interesting because no one, like when I look at all these cards, the only character that's looking directly at me and facing me is the King of Pentacles, but he has those sunglasses on and I can't see his eyes. So that's interesting. So a few things pop into my head here. It might be that there's certain things that we just don't want to look at directly this year. We might have a hard time tackling things head on. We might feel ourselves being more evasive this year and avoiding things and not being able to face things head on. That's kind of my interpretation of it. Yeah, so that's something to look out for. Just you might notice yourself doing a lot of avoiding and not wanting to look at something head on, not wanting to look at something, you know, clearly and directly. Another theme with these cards, I think I've already mentioned this, but another theme is like taking stock. So we have Two of Wands, she's pausing, she's looking at her map, she's figuring out where she's going to go. Judgment, I said, was about kind of doing a life review and figuring out, you know, where you want to go next, what the next step is going to be, what the next phase is going to be. So that feels like a theme for 2024. And then 2 figures on these cards are bound. So we have the woman in the Eight of Swords who's all tied up. And then the Hanged Man has rope around his one ankle and he's hanging from a tree. So I think that we will experience our fair share of limitations this year and feeling kind of stuck, feeling limited in some way. And again, it's just all part of the journey. So I'm not too concerned about that because so many of these other cards like King of Pentacles, especially the Fool, Judgment, Six of Swords, Two of Wands, all of these cards are about like moving forward and finding freedom and expansion and adventure and all of that. But as we move through this year, we will come up against some things. We will experience limitation. We will experience those frustrations, but it's just kind of all part of the journey. It's not like we end up staying there for too long, hopefully. Okay. So to sum this reading up, to sum all these cards up, I feel like, and again, I'm repeating myself a little bit here, but it does feel like 2023 is a year of, at the risk of sounding dramatic, it is kind of a year of transformation and starting a new phase and something new. Maybe, and this might not happen for you at the beginning of the year, it might actually happen partway through the year. And I say that because I'm noticing Judgment comes kind of in the middle of the reading, followed by the Fool. And I actually love seeing these cards together because remember, Judgment, I was saying, was about maybe forgiving and releasing and putting things in perspective and transformation, and then followed by the Fool. The Fool, it's like you're born anew. You're born with fresh optimism and energy and zest for life. And then we have the Hangman. So you might start out on this wonderful journey and then boom, something happens and you're stuck. You're no longer moving forward. But something really important to pay attention to is the Hangman, who looks kind of similar to the Fool. He's smiling. He's in a state of bliss. He's not miserable. And that's what's interesting. So you can actually almost take a certain amount of pleasure and solace in the moments in your life where you feel a little bit stuck, because it's like, okay, I can't move forward, so I'm going to move inward and I'm going to take a little break from moving forward. So it's almost, he is in a state of bliss. That's an important thing that I didn't mention the first time I talked about that card. So I feel like overall, this is a year, again, of like moving forward and it could be a year of adventure too. And I'm kind of looking at the Fool. That card feels very adventurous. Six of Swords also feels like he's setting out on a journey. In fact, so many of these cards, Two of Wands, the Fool, and Six of Swords, it's like someone is setting out on some sort of journey. And of course, there will be challenges this year. We might be challenged by our own sense of limitation. We might feel frustrated by things being stagnant, not being able to move the needle as fast as we would like. Five of Pentacles is all about feeling isolated, feeling alone, feeling like you're having to do it all by yourself. And I'll also point out that all of these cards just have one person on them, except for Five of Pentacles, but these people aren't interacting. So there is like almost a solitary feel to a lot of these cards. So that might be a challenge as we move through this year. And of course, Five of Cups is a challenge card about how you deal with disappointment and learning to process disappointment and process grief and move forward. But there's a lot of really great cards here, and I'm also really comforted by the presence of the King of Pentacles, because he is really the key, saying this is how you want to operate this year. You want to be like the King of Pentacles. The more grounded you are, the more in your body you are, the more you take care of the day-to-day physical things. Like, again, like taking care of your body, taking care of your house, your home, your surroundings, taking care of your finances. The more you take care of those sort of basic things, the smoother things are going to go overall. So you want to be like the King of Pentacles, and remember to take time for relaxation and rest and enjoying the good things. Like he's enjoying his glass of wine. Maybe you enjoy something more wholesome, like getting outside for a walk or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's about enjoyment as well. Okay, so that has been your 2024 tarot forecast. So feel free to leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if there was something that really resonated with you, or if you have your own ideas or insights or thoughts that you want to share. Feel free to do so in the comments below. Again, I'm going to put the link to the spread that I used. If you want to do your own personal reading, I'm going to put the link to that spread below. And again, I will be offering private personal readings this year, starting in the first week of January. So I will add that link below this video once I have that all set up and I'm ready to go. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Kate. I'm also known as the Daily Tarot Girl. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. I post weekly content, video tutorials, and weekly readings. And I just want to wish you all the best for the year ahead. So wishing you all the good things in 2024. So thank you so much for watching.